let me instead shift over here to one of Morris's teammates, Kevin Harris, who chose Alabama. Let's talk to Chris Kirschner about that from SEC Country, who covers Alabama recruiting. And Chris, I'll give you the credit for this. You were on SEC Country this morning in your recruiting notebook saying that you thought it ultimately would be the Tide for Alabama. That is the choice. How close do you think Miami and maybe even, I guess, LSU, how close were they able to make it here at the end? Ultimately, the Tide wins out here, though.
Yeah, I mean, with LSU, they were a distant third in Harris's recruitment. I actually spoke to Harris just a few minutes ago, and he told me that he was leaning toward Miami in the early part of last week, and then he decided that Alabama was just a better fit, both academically and athletically, for what he wants to achieve. So he changed his mind, and then a few days ago, he gave Nick Saban the call to commit to Alabama. I mean, it's definitely a big win for the Crimson Tide. He is one of the team's top jack linebacker targets.
Yeah, Chris, I've been comparing Kevin Harris all day to Tim Williams as a possibility for how he fits in this defense. Is that how you see him as well, or do you think they'll use him more along the lines of, say, Rashaan Evans?
No, I would definitely say Tim Williams, if we're going to compare him to anybody. Definitely has that explosive first step, the ability to cause havoc on the edge, and that's where Alabama views him right now. He's 6'4", 220. He's definitely going to have to add some weight, very lean. So I do think that if we're going to compare him to any former linebacker at Alabama, it would be Tim Williams.
Chris, from the Alabama staff here, who gets the credit? We know the offseason for Alabama was, I'll describe it, maybe a bit of an overhaul for the staff, reinvigorating the recruiting efforts. Alabama, I think, wanted to just be a little bit more aggressive on the trail here for the 2019 cycle. Who's getting the credit here for Kevin Harris in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely Tosh Lupoy, one of the holdovers from last year's staff. Arguably one of the top recruiters in the country as far as assistants go. Lupoy's definitely been on Harris for quite some time now. And, I asked Kevin how much of a factor did Lupoy have in his recruitment, and he definitely said it was a big reason why he committed to Alabama. He's very close with Lupoy. Lupoy's pretty much been in daily communication with Harris for several months now. And they finally got Harris to visit Tuscaloosa early last month. He actually made 2 visits to Alabama in April. That second trip being the most important. It came right after that official visit to Miami that Monday. And he had a chance to bring along his mother on that visit. She met with Tosh Lupoy. She met with the entire Alabama staff. And that visit in particular is what really got this thing turning back to Alabama's way.
Chris, the ball really is rolling in terms of Alabama recruiting right now. I mean, you look at Christian Williams, Shane Lee, Amari Knight. Seems like every week Bama's reeling in another guy, and now all of a sudden Kevin Harris puts them at that #1 position in the nation right now. First of all, who do you think's next along the lines, and can Alabama stick with that #1 class for some time now?
Yeah, I definitely do think so. As far as who's next, the name to know is 4-star defensive tackle DJ Dale, Alabama's top nose guard option in this class. I expect DJ Dale to commit in these next few days. I would actually be surprised if he's not an Alabama commitment by Friday. So we'll see what happens with that. But I do expect Dale to be the next Alabama commitment.
And, Chris, I guess it's also worth pointing out here in terms of additional momentum for Alabama's 2019 class. This is a class that gets to be much larger than Alabama faced for 2018. Part of Alabama's issue from a year ago was simply not having room to sign a lot of players. It's a chance in 2019 to be able to sign a full class, correct?
Yes, definitely. Right now, Alabama is planning on taking 27 in the 2019 class. And with the additional 2 spots, I really have a hard time believing that anyone's going to have the amount of talent and let alone numbers to have the #1 class other than Alabama. So, when February rolls around, I do expect Alabama to once again have the nation's #1 recruiting class.
Well, Chris, later on in the final decision to be made tonight, 5-star linebacker Owen Pappoe is going to make his choice. You get to be a bit of a spectator for that one. Alabama not really in the mix for Pappoe. Do you have a prediction on where you think he lands?
Yeah, I mean, just from being at Sports and Social for a little over an hour now, it definitely seems like Auburn's going to be the 5-star linebackers' destination. So it would definitely be a big win for Gus Malzahn. I've been covering recruiting since 2014, and Pappoe has definitely been one of those guys that I saw early on. I was like, this guy's going to be really, really special one day. So it would definitely be a big win for Gus Malzahn if he did sign Owen Pappoe.
Hey, Chris, thanks for giving us some time here today on our SEC Country Live special presentation. We'll look forward to reading more from you at SECCountry.com about Kevin Harris's decision and what comes next for Alabama recruiting. Nobody knows it better than you, and we appreciate you speaking to us this evening.
Thanks a lot.